The massive alien ship drifted through space like a crystal cathedral made of light and metal. Its surface gleamed with patterns that shifted and moved like living art. Inside the ship, Commander Zefek stood tall in the main control room. His body looked like it was carved from blue crystal, and light flowed through him like water through glass. He was beautiful in an alien way, but his eyes held the cold look of someone who thought he was better than everyone else. "Commander, we are getting close to the star system the locals call Sol," said Science Officer Wisp. Wisp was not solid like Zefek. Instead, Wisp was made of glowing gas that floated in a special container shaped like a person. The gas changed colors when Wisp talked, shifting from green to purple to gold. Zefek nodded and looked at the big screen that showed the space ahead of them. "Any signs of intelligent life in this system?" "Yes, Commander. The third planet from the star is sending out radio signals. Very basic ones. The beings there seem to have just learned how to send messages through space," Wisp replied. "The gas." Being's voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Security Chief Grash stepped forward. He was huge and covered in thick armor that looked like it was made from black metal. His species came from a world of endless storms, so they all wore armor to protect themselves. Under the armor, Grash looked like a giant lizard with too many teeth. "Should we be worried about them, Commander?" Zefik laughed, and the sound was like crystal bells ringing. "Worried? About primitives who just learned to use radio? Look at their planet, Grash." The main screen changed to show Earth from space. The planet looked blue and green and white, with swirling clouds and vast oceans. It looked peaceful and beautiful, like a perfect world where nothing bad ever happened. "See how soft and gentle their world looks," Zefik said, pointing at the screen. "All that water, those green areas, those fluffy white clouds. This is clearly a nursery world. The beings who live there probably spend their time picking flowers and singing songs." Wisp's gas form turned bright yellow with amusement. "Commander, I am picking up their communications now. Should I put them on the speakers?" "Yes, let us hear what these adorable creatures have to say." The control room filled with crackling sounds, and a human voice came through, speaking English. The ship's computers quickly learned the language and began translating. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Force. We have detected your ship approaching our system. Please identify yourself and state your intentions." The entire alien crew burst into laughter. Zefek had to hold on to his control panel to keep from falling over. Earth Defense Force? What could they possibly need to defend against on such a peaceful little world? On Earth, Captain Jake Morrison sat in the command center of NORAD, deep inside Cheyenne Mountain. He was a tall man with gray hair and steady blue eyes. He had spent 30 years in the military and had seen many strange things, but nothing like this. The alien ship was bigger than anything humans had ever built, and it was just sitting there in space like it owned the place. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez sat at the communications station next to him. She was young and smart, with dark hair pulled back in a tight bun. She had been the first to detect the alien signals. "Sir, they are responding," she said. The alien voice came through the speakers, translated into English by their computers. It sounded condescending, like an adult talking to a small child. "Greetings, little Earth creatures. I am Commander Zefek of the Galactic Council Exploration Vessel Starweaver. We are here to study your charming little world and your adorable species. Do not be frightened. We mean you no harm." Jake's jaw tightened. He had fought in 3 wars and commanded soldiers in the worst places on Earth. He did not like being talked to like a child. "We are not frightened," he said into his microphone. "We welcome peaceful contact with other species." More laughter came through the speakers. "Of course you are not frightened," Zefek said. Why would gentle creatures from such a soft world? No fear? Tell me, little human, what is the most dangerous thing on your peaceful planet? Perhaps a thorny bush? A steep hill? Amy looked at Jake with wide eyes. She could not believe what she was hearing. These aliens thought Earth was some kind of safe, easy world where nothing bad ever happened. Back on the Starweaver, Wisp was scanning Earth with the ship's sensors. Commander, their world appears to have standard gravity, liquid water, and a breathable atmosphere. The temperature seems comfortable. I detect no major threats in their biosphere. See? Sefik said to his crew. Just as I thought. These humans evolved on a world so safe and easy that they probably do not even know what real danger looks like. Their biggest worry is probably running out of whatever sweet fruits they eat. Grash shook his armored head. I almost feel sorry for them. When they learn about the real galaxy, with its wars and dangers, they will probably faint from shock. Sir, Amy whispered to Jake, should we tell them about our military? Our weapons? Our history? Jake thought for a moment, then shook his head. Not yet. Let them keep thinking we are harmless. It might be useful. The alien commander's voice came through the speakers again. We have decided to visit your world, little humans. We will land soon to study your simple culture. Please do not gather crowds to stare at us. We know you must be very excited to meet beings from the stars, but try to contain yourselves. Where do you plan to land? Jake asked. Somewhere with nice weather and pretty flowers, Sefik replied. Perhaps near one of your small settlements. We do not want to frighten you by landing in your largest cities. Jake looked at Amy and almost smiled. These aliens had no idea what they were getting into. Very well. We will prepare a welcoming committee. After the communication ended, the aliens continued to mock humans among themselves. They shared stories about other primitive species they had encountered on easy worlds. Most of them had been so shocked by meeting aliens that they had either run away screaming or fallen down worshipping the visitors. I bet these humans will bring us gifts of flowers. And fruit, said Navigator Trill, a slug-like being with too many eyes. Primitives from nursery worlds always do that. Maybe they will dance for us, added Communications Officer Vex, who looked like a walking tree with silver bark. The last nursery world species we visited did a very amusing dance. Commander. Zefek was already planning his report to the Galactic Council. These humans would make an interesting study. It was always fun to see how species from easy worlds reacted to learning about the wider galaxy. Most of them were so overwhelmed that they begged to be left alone. Set course for their planet, Zefek ordered. Let us go meet these charming little Earth creatures. This should be quite entertaining. The Starweaver began moving toward Earth, its crystal hull gleaming in the light of the sun. The aliens inside were laughing and joking, completely sure that they were about to meet the most helpless species in the galaxy. They had no idea how wrong they were. On Earth, Jake Morrison watched the alien ship getting closer on his screens. He thought about his grandfather, who had fought in World War II. He thought about his father, who had survived Vietnam. He thought about all the soldiers who had died in all the wars humans had fought just to survive on this planet. These aliens thought Earth was safe and easy. They thought humans were soft and weak. Jake almost felt sorry for them. They were about to learn that Earth was not the nursery world they imagined. They were about to discover what it really meant to come from a world where only the strong survived. The real education was about to begin. The Starweaver descended through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star. Commander Zefek had chosen to land in Colorado, near the mountains. He thought the area looked peaceful and pretty from space, with its forests and hills. What he did not know was that it was late October, and winter was coming to the Rocky Mountains. Prepare for landing, Zefek announced to his crew. Remember, We are dealing with primitives from a nursery world. Be gentle with them. They probably have never seen anything more advanced than their own simple tools. Science Officer Wisp floated in his container, his gas form glowing with excitement. I cannot wait to study their basic culture, Commander. I wonder what kind of simple art they make. Probably drawings of flowers and happy animals. Security. Chief Grash checked his armor one more time. Even though he expected no danger, he always stayed prepared. His people had learned long ago that armor was necessary for survival. Should I bring weapons, Commander? Zefek laughed his crystal bell laugh. Weapons? What would we need weapons for? These creatures probably do not even know what a weapon is. The most dangerous thing on their world is likely a tall tree they might walk into. The ship landed in a forest, clearing with a soft thud. Through the windows, the aliens could see tall trees with leaves that had turned orange and red. It looked beautiful and harmless, just like they expected. Perfect, Zefik said. A nice, safe forest. No doubt full of friendly creatures, and pretty. Flowers. 3 miles away, Colonel Ben Parker crouched behind a fallen log with his binoculars. He was a tough man with scars on his hands and a face that had seen too much combat. Next to him, Dr. Lisa Chun adjusted her scientific equipment. She was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life forms, though she had never expected to study real aliens. Visual contact confirmed, Ben whispered into his radio. The alien ship has landed. Looks like a giant crystal. 3 figures are exiting the craft. Dr. Chun watched through her own binoculars as the aliens stepped out of their ship. Incredible. She breathed. Look at the variety of life forms. Commander Zefek stepped out first, his crystal body gleaming in the sunlight. But something was wrong. He stumbled and nearly fell. The gravity of Earth was much stronger than he was used to. On his home world of Altair Prime, gravity was only 1/3 as strong as Earth's. Every step felt like he was carrying a heavy weight. This is more difficult than expected, Zefek said, trying to sound confident, even though he was struggling to walk normally. Science. Officer Wisp came out next, floating in his mobile container. But Earth's wind was much stronger than the gentle breezes of his gas giant home. His container kept being pushed around, and he had to fight to stay in one place. On Nebulos, winds were soft and predictable. Here, they seemed wild and chaotic. Why is the air moving so violently? Wisp complained, his gas form turning a worried shade of purple. Security Chief Grash emerged last, and even he was having problems. His armor was designed for the low-pressure environment of Ironhold. On Earth, the atmospheric pressure was crushing down on him. He moved slowly, like he was walking underwater. Something is wrong with this planet, Grash muttered. The air feels thick and heavy. But the aliens were determined to complete their mission. They had told the Galactic Council they would study these primitive humans, and they did not want to look weak. They began walking toward the edge of the clearing, planning to take samples of the local plant. Life. Dr. Chun watched with growing amazement as the aliens struggled with conditions that humans found completely normal. Ben, are you seeing this? They can barely handle our gravity and atmosphere. I see it, Ben replied. These aliens might not be as tough as they think they are. Commander Zefek reached the edge of the clearing first, though he was breathing hard from the effort. He saw some green plants growing near a tree and decided to take samples. The plants had 3 leaves each and looked harmless enough. Look at this simple vegetation, he said, reaching down to grab a handful of the plants. So basic and primitive. What Zefek did not know was that he had just grabbed a handful of poison ivy. Within minutes, his crystal skin began to react. Red spots appeared where the plant oils had touched him. The spots began to itch and burn. Zefek had never felt anything like it. What is happening to me? He cried, Looking at his hands in horror, Wisp floated over to examine his commander. The plants appear to be ... hostile, but that is impossible. This is a nursery world. Security. Chief Grash used his armor scanners to analyze the plants. Commander, these plants produce a chemical weapon. They are designed to hurt anything that touches them. Chemical weapons? Zefek stared at the innocent-looking plants. But they are just simple plants. How can simple plants have chemical weapons? Dr. Chun shook her head in amazement. They think poison ivy is a chemical weapon. Wait until they find out about poison oak, stinging nettle, and giant hogweed. The aliens' problems were just beginning. As they stood there trying to understand why the plants had hurt their commander, they heard a sound in the forest. It was a deep, huffing noise, followed by the crack of breaking branches. What was that? Wisp asked, his gas form turning bright yellow with fear. The sound came closer. Through the trees walked a black bear. It was not a particularly large bear, only about 400 pounds. To humans, it was just a normal bear doing normal bear things. But to the aliens, it looked like a monster. The bear stood up on its back, legs to get a better look at the strange visitors. When it did, it became over 7 feet tall. Its claws gleamed in the sunlight, each one longer than Zefek's crystal fingers. Its teeth were white and sharp, designed for tearing meat. "Predator!" Grash shouted, his armor's warning systems going crazy. "Massive predator, Class 5 threat level." The aliens had never seen anything like it. On their worlds, the biggest animals were small and gentle. They ate plants and ran away from anything threatening. This creature looked like it could tear them apart without even trying. "It's huge!" Wisp screamed, his gas form turning bright red with terror. The bear looked at the aliens with mild curiosity. It had never seen anything like them before, but they did not smell like food or act like a threat. After a moment, it dropped back down to all fours and wandered away, looking for berries. But the aliens did not know the bear was peaceful. To them, it was a terrifying monster that could kill them easily. They ran back to their ship as fast as they could, which was not very fast considering Earth's heavy gravity. Emergency departure. Zefek ordered as soon as they were inside. "This world is not what we thought." "But Commander," Wisp said, "we came here to study the humans." "The humans can wait," Zefek replied, still scratching his poison ivy rash. "We need to understand this planet first. How can a nursery world have chemical weapon plants and massive predators?" Back in the forest, Colonel Ben Parker lowered his binoculars and grinned. "Well, that was interesting. A black bear just scared off an alien invasion force." Dr. Chun was taking notes as fast as she could write. "Ben, I don't think these aliens understand what kind of world Earth really is. They seem to think we live in some kind of paradise. Maybe we should enlighten them," Ben said. "But first, let's report back to command. Jake needs to know that our visitors are not as tough as they pretend to be." As the human observers packed up their equipment, the alien ship rose into the sky. Inside, Commander Zefek was having serious doubts about his mission. How could a world that looked so peaceful from space be so dangerous on the surface? "Wisp, run a full analysis of this planet," he ordered. "I want to know everything about it before we try to land again." "Already working on it, Commander," Wisp replied. "But the initial data is ... confusing." "Confusing how?" "Well, sir, according to our sensors, this planet should be classified as much more dangerous than we thought. The gravity is 3 times stronger than most habitable worlds. The atmospheric pressure is crushing. The weather patterns show signs of violent storms, and the biological diversity is extreme." Zevek stared at the data on his screen. "That cannot be right. Look at it from space. It looks so peaceful." Appearances can be deceiving, Commander, Grash said, still checking his armor for damage. On Ironhold, we learned that the most dangerous things often look harmless. But these are humans, Zefek insisted. They are supposed to be gentle, primitive creatures. How could they survive on such a dangerous world? None of the aliens had an answer to that question. But they were starting to realize that everything they thought they knew about humans might be wrong. Back on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison received the report from Colonel Parker with great interest. The aliens had fled from a single black bear and a patch of poison ivy. These supposedly advanced beings could barely handle the most basic aspects of life on Earth. Sir, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez said, if they think a black bear is scary, what are they going to think when they learn about grizzly bears? Or polar bears? Or sharks? Or spiders? Or hurricanes? Or earthquakes? Or ... double quotes. Jake held up a hand to stop her. I think I see your point, Amy. These aliens have no idea what they are dealing with. Should we tell them the truth, sir? Jake thought about it for a moment, then smiled. Not yet. Let them figure it out on their own. It will be more educational that way. 3 days later, the aliens finally agreed to meet with humans properly. They chose a location far from any forests, bears, or dangerous plants. The meeting place was a large conference room built inside an airplane hangar in Nevada. The humans had made it comfortable for both species, with special chairs and air systems. President Helen Walker sat at the head of the human delegation. She was a strong woman in her 50s, with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Next to her sat Secretary of Defense Tom Bradley, a former Marine who had fought in wars across 3 continents. General Rick Johnson completed the main group, along with Dr. Lisa Chun and several other scientists. The alien delegation looked much less confident than they had 3 days ago. Commander Zefek wore a special support suit to help him deal with Earth's gravity. His crystal skin still showed red marks from the poison ivy. Science Officer Wisp stayed inside a heavily reinforced container to protect him from Earth's wild winds. Security Chief Grash had upgraded his armor with extra pressure seals. Welcome to Earth, President Walker said with a diplomatic smile. We hope your stay has been educational so far. Commander Zefek tried to maintain his superior attitude, but it was harder now. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. We are here to learn about your ... interesting world. Please tell us about your home worlds, Dr. Chan said. We are very curious about how other species live. Zefek straightened up, happy to talk about something that made him feel important again. Altair Prime is a magnificent world. The gravity is gentle, only 0.3 of what you experience here. We have no weather to speak of, just perfect temperature and calm air all year round. Our cities float in the sky, powered by crystal technology that has lasted for millions of years. No weather at all? General Johnson asked. How do your plants get water? Plants? Zefek looked confused. We do not have plants like yours. We have crystal formations that grow slowly and provide all our needs. They require no water, no soil, no dangerous chemicals. Wisp's gas form glowed softly as he spoke. My world of nebulos is even more perfect. It is a gas giant where everything floats peacefully in the clouds. Our storms are gentle swirls that last for centuries. Nothing moves quickly or violently. We have never known hunger, thirst, or physical pain. What about predators? Tom Bradley asked. Animals that hunt other animals? Predators? Wisp's form turned purple with confusion. What is a predator? The humans looked at each other in amazement. These aliens had no idea what a predator was. They came from worlds so safe and easy that the concept of one animal hunting another was unknown to them. Security Chief Grash spoke next. Ironhold is the most dangerous of our worlds, which is why my people developed armor. Our planet has mineral storms that can damage unprotected skin. That is why we wear protection at all times. Mineral storms? Dr. Chun asked. Yes, sometimes tiny pieces of metal fall from the sky, like rain. They can scratch you if you are not careful. It is very dangerous. President Walker had to hide a smile. These aliens thought a light shower of metal dust was dangerous. They had no idea what a real storm looked like. Tell us about your species, Zephyk said. How do you survive on such a challenging world? Tom Bradley leaned forward. What do you mean by challenging? Well, your gravity is crushing. Your air pressure is enormous. Your weather patterns are chaotic and violent. And your plants produce chemical weapons. How do you cope with such harsh conditions? The humans realized that the aliens still did not understand the truth about Earth. They thought these were unusual hardships that humans had to struggle against every day. Actually, President Walker said carefully, we find Earth quite comfortable. These conditions are normal for us. Normal? Zephyk's crystal body flickered with disbelief. But surely you must live in protected cities? Underground, perhaps, or in the sky? No, General Johnson said. We live right on the surface. In fact, many humans enjoy being outside. We call it recreation. Recreation? Wisp's form turned bright yellow. You go outside for fun? Dr. Chun decided to share some basic information about human history. Our species evolved on this world over millions of years. We adapted to these conditions. In fact, we have thrived in much worse conditions than what you have seen. Worse? Grash's armor made worried beeping sounds. How could it be worse? Well, Dr. Chun continued, our ancestors survived multiple ice ages. For thousands of years, most of the planet was covered in ice and snow. Temperatures dropped far below freezing. Food was scarce. Many species went extinct, but humans survived. The aliens' universal translators started making strange noises. The concept of an ice age was so foreign to them that their computers had trouble processing it. Ice age? Zephyk asked weakly. You mean your entire planet became frozen? Several times, President Walker confirmed. The last one ended only 12,000 years ago. Our ancestors lived through it, using nothing but animal skins for clothing and stone tools for hunting. Hunting? Wisp asked. What is hunting? Tom Bradley answered this one. Hunting is when you track down animals and kill them for food. Silence in the room was deafening. The aliens stared at the humans in horror. These gentle-looking creatures were describing activities that sounded like nightmare scenarios to species from peaceful worlds. You ... kill animals? Grash asked, his voice shaking. We had to, General Johnson explained. It was the only way to get enough protein to survive. Humans are omnivores. We eat both plants and meat. But the animals you showed us are so large. And dangerous, Zephyk protested. How could you possibly kill something like that bear we saw? Bears are actually pretty easy, Dr. Chon said casually. Our ancestors hunted much more dangerous animals. Mammoths, saber-toothed cats, cave bears that were twice the size of modern bears. Commander Zephyk's crystal form began to dim. His people had never hunted anything. They absorbed energy directly from their crystal cities. The idea of tracking down and killing a massive predator was beyond his imagination. Tell us about your wars, President Walker said, deciding to share more human history. Wars? Wisp's gas form started swirling frantically. What are wars? Wars are when groups of humans fight each other, Tom Bradley explained. We have had thousands of wars throughout our history. Sometimes they involved millions of people fighting across entire continents. Fighting? Grash asked. You fight each other? Yes, We developed weapons, strategies, and tactics for combat. We learned how to work together in dangerous situations. War taught us discipline, courage, and how to survive when everything goes wrong. The aliens were becoming more disturbed with every revelation. These humans were describing a level of violence and danger that was completely alien to their experience. But surely, Zefik said desperately, you have moved beyond such primitive behavior? You have peaceful societies now? Mostly, General Johnson agreed, but we still train for combat. Every major nation on Earth has a military. We prepare for threats and practice fighting because the universe can be a dangerous place. What threats? Wisp asked. What could threaten you on your peaceful world? Dr. Chun pulled up some images on her tablet. Natural disasters mostly. Hurricanes with winds over 200 miles per hour. Tornadoes that can destroy entire cities. Earthquakes that split the ground open. Volcanic eruptions that cover thousands of square miles in burning lava. She showed them pictures of Hurricane Katrina, the 2004 tsunami, and Mount Vesuvius. The aliens looked at the images in stunned silence. These things happen regularly? Zefik whispered. Every year, President Walker confirmed. We have early warning systems and emergency procedures. People who live in dangerous areas learn how to prepare and respond. And you stay there? Grash asked. You do not evacuate your entire planet. Where would we go? Tom Bradley asked with a shrug. This is our home. We deal with the dangers because that is what humans do. Science Officer Wisp was frantically running calculations in his mobile computer. The data he was getting made no sense according to everything the Galactic Council knew about habitable worlds. Commander, Wisp said quietly, I need to recalculate our assessment of this planet. What do you mean? Zefik asked. Based on what we have learned today, Earth is not a level 2 nursery world. The gravity, atmosphere, weather patterns, predator species, and natural disasters suggest something much more dangerous. How much more? Dangerous? Wisp's form turned deep red with concern. Preliminary calculations suggest this might be a level 5 or even level 6 world. The only species that could evolve on such a world would be incredibly resilient and adaptable. The aliens looked at the humans with new eyes. These were not gentle primitives from a peaceful world. These were survivors from a planet that would kill most galactic species within days. We need to contact the Council immediately, Zefik said. This changes everything. President Walker smiled politely. Is there a problem, Commander? No problem, Zefik lied. We just need to update our records. But inside, all three aliens were thinking the same thing. They had made a terrible mistake. These humans were not the helpless primitives they had expected. They were something much more dangerous, and the aliens were beginning to realize they might be in serious trouble. Back aboard the Starweaver, the alien crew worked frantically through the night. Commander Zefik paced back and forth in his command center, his crystal body flickering with nervous energy. The red marks from the poison ivy still covered his hands, a constant reminder of how wrong they had been about Earth. Wisp, what do your calculations show now? Zefik demanded. Science Officer Wisp floated in his reinforced container, his gas form swirling in complex patterns that meant he was thinking hard. Commander, the data is disturbing. Very disturbing. Show me. The main screen lit up with numbers and charts that made Zefik's crystal heart sink. Earth's gravity was listed as 9.8 meters per second squared. Most civilized worlds had gravity between 2 and 4. Earth's atmospheric pressure was 14.7 pounds per square inch. Most habitable worlds had pressure between 5 and 8. Look at this, Commander, Wisp continued. Their magnetic field strength indicates a molten planetary core. The radiation levels from their sun would kill most galactic species within hours. Without protection, yet humans walk around in it every day. What about their biology? Zefek asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. I managed to scan some human DNA during our meeting. Commander, their genetic structure shows adaptations that should be impossible. They have redundant organs, incredible healing abilities, and resistance to toxins that would kill us instantly. Security Chief Grash lumbered over, his armor making mechanical whirring sounds. What kind of toxins? Alcohol, for one. Did you know humans drink poison for recreation? They call it alcohol, and it would shut down our nervous systems completely. But humans drink it and just become slightly impaired. They drink poison for fun? Grash's armor made alarmed beeping sounds. That is not the worst part, Wisp continued. Humans can survive in water. They actually swim in vast bodies of water filled with predators. For pleasure. Zefek had to sit down. His people could not survive in any liquid for more than a few minutes. The idea of swimming for fun was like jumping into acid for entertainment. There is more, Wisp said. Their planet's biodiversity index shows 8.7 million species. Most worlds have between 50,000 and 200,000 species maximum. Earth has more life forms than any world in the galactic database. How many of those species are predators? Grash asked. Approximately 40%. And get this, humans are apex predators. They are at the top of their food chain. Nothing on their planet hunts humans except other humans. The command center fell silent. The aliens tried to process this information. These gentle-looking humans with their soft skin and friendly smiles were the ultimate predators on a world full of monsters. Commander, Navigator Trill spoke up, I have been reviewing our cultural database. According to galactic classification standards, any species that evolves on a world with these conditions should be listed as extremely dangerous. How dangerous? Zefek asked weakly. Class 9 combat rating. That would make them more dangerous than any species currently in the Galactic Council. Commander Zefek decided he needed to contact his superiors immediately. This was beyond his authority to handle. He opened a communication channel to the Galactic Council headquarters, located on the peaceful garden world of Serenity Prime. Council Archon Velith appeared on the screen. Velith was an ancient being that looked like a tree made of silver metal. He had catalogued over 10,000 worlds during his long life. Nothing surprised him anymore. Commander Zefek, Velith said in his deep, calm voice, I trust your survey of the Sol system is proceeding smoothly? Archon, we have a problem. A big problem. What kind of problem? Zefek transmitted all the data they had collected. For several minutes, Velith studied the information in silence. When he finally spoke, his voice had changed completely. Commander, are you certain this data is accurate? Yes, Archon. We have verified it multiple times. This is unprecedented. According to this information, the planet you call Earth should be classified as a Level 8 Hellworld. A what? Level 8 Hellworld. These are planets so dangerous that only 0.001% of known species could survive. They're even with technological assistance. We have only discovered 12 such worlds in galactic history, and all of them were uninhabited. Zefek felt his crystal body growing cold. But Archon, this world is not uninhabited. It has over 7 billion humans living on it. 7 billion? Velith's voice cracked with shock. That is impossible. No species could evolve on a Level 8 world, let alone build a civilization there. They are not just surviving, Archon. They are thriving. They told us about swimming in water for fun, drinking poison for recreation, and hunting predators that could kill our security teams. The communication fell silent for a long time. Finally, Velith spoke again, and his voice was full of awe and fear. Commander, you have discovered something that changes everything we know about life in the universe. If humans evolved on a Level 8 Hellworld, they are not primitives. They are the most dangerous species ever encountered. What should we do? First, do not let them know how dangerous we consider them. Second, treat them with extreme caution. Third, send me every piece of data you can gather. The Council needs to understand what we are dealing with. After the communication ended, Zefik called his crew together for an emergency meeting. Everyone needs to understand our new situation, he announced. We are not dealing with primitive, nursery world inhabitants. We are dealing with apex predators from a death world. How dangerous are they really? Asked Communications Officer Vex. Think about it, Wisp answered. They evolved in 3 times normal gravity, so they are incredibly strong. They survived ice ages, so they can adapt to anything. They hunted giant predators with stone tools, so they are natural warriors. They drink poison for fun, so they are resistant to most toxins. They swim with monsters, so they fear nothing. But they seem so friendly, Trill protested. That makes them even more dangerous, Grash said. A species that can be friendly while being capable of such violence is the most dangerous kind of all. Zefek nodded grimly. From now on, we treat humans as the galactic equivalent of living weapons. We show them respect, we do not threaten them, and we definitely do not mock them. Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison was receiving reports from intelligence teams around the world. The aliens had been scanning everything: military bases, cities, natural disaster zones, even zoos and aquariums. Sir, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez said, our satellites show the alien ship has been running non-stop scans for 12 hours. They are studying everything. Good, Jake replied. Let them learn. The more they understand about Earth, the better. Should we be worried about them knowing our capabilities? Jake thought about the reports from Colonel Parker. The aliens had been terrified by a black bear and poisoned by common plants. They could barely handle Earth's basic conditions. Amy, I do not think we need to worry about these particular aliens. They are scared of us now. Scared of us? Think about it from their perspective. They came here expecting to find helpless primitives. Instead, they found a species that survived and thrived on a world that would kill them in hours. They are probably wondering what kind of monsters they have encountered. Dr. Lisa Chun entered the command center with a thick folder of research. Jake, you need to see this. I have been analyzing the aliens' technology and biology based on our observations. What did you find? Their ship is beautiful, but fragile. It is designed for traveling between safe, peaceful worlds. Their bodies are adapted for low gravity, calm weather, and no physical threats. They are like delicate flowers compared to humans. How delicate? Our normal atmospheric pressure is crushing them. Our gravity is crippling them. Our weather terrifies them. If they tried to live on Earth without their technology, they would die within days. Jake nodded thoughtfully. And they are beginning to realize that we live here naturally, without any special technology. Exactly. We are everything they are. Not tough, adaptable, and dangerous. From their perspective, we must seem like unstoppable monsters. The question is, Amy said, what are they going to do with that information? High above Earth, Commander Zefek was asking himself the same question. The Galactic Council would want to know about these incredible humans. But how do you explain a species that makes every other galactic civilization look weak and helpless by comparison? Commander, Wisp announced, I am receiving a priority message from the Council. Put it through. Archon Velith appeared on the screen again, but this time he was not alone. Behind him stood representatives from every major species in the Galactic Council. They all looked worried. Commander Zefek, Velith said formally, the Council has reviewed your data. We have reached a unanimous decision. What decision, Archon? Earth and its human inhabitants are to be classified as a Level 8 Hellworld with apex predator inhabitants. This makes them the most dangerous known species in the galaxy. Zephyk swallowed hard. What does that mean for first contact protocols? It means, Commander, that everything has changed. We are no longer studying primitives. We are negotiating with the galactic equivalent of living gods of war. The weight of that statement settled over the alien crew like a heavy blanket. They had come to Earth to study cute, harmless primitives. Instead, they had discovered the most terrifying species in the known universe. 2 weeks later, everything changed when the emergency signal came through. The Galactic Council's communication center on Serenity Prime erupted into chaos as desperate messages flooded in from the Kepler system. The planet's sanctuary was under attack by the Vex, a machine race that consumed organic matter to fuel their expansion. Archon Velith stood in the council chamber, his silver tree-like form trembling with worry. Around him, representatives from dozens of species argued frantically. The Vex had appeared without warning and were systematically destroying Sanctuary's defenses. "We must send our fleet immediately," declared Ambassador Keth of the Warrior. Cast, his insect-like body clicking with agitation. "Our ships cannot operate effectively on Sanctuary," replied Councilmember Orin, a blob-like being from a water world. "The gravity is too strong, the atmosphere too toxic, the radiation too intense." Sanctuary was a level 6 world, dangerous by galactic standards, but still habitable for its native species. For most council races, it might as well have been a death trap. Their soldiers would need heavy environmental suits that would slow them down. Their ships would struggle in the planet's dense atmosphere. 400 million beings will die if we do nothing," Velith said gravely. "But our forces are not equipped for combat on such a harsh world." The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew the terrible truth. The Galactic Council's military was designed for fighting in space or on gentle worlds. They had never needed to operate on dangerous planets because no civilized species lived on dangerous planets, except for one. Commander Zephyk had been listening to the emergency communications from his ship above Earth. His crystal form brightened as a desperate idea formed in his mind. "Archon," he transmitted from the Starweaver, "I may have a solution." "Speak quickly, Commander." "The humans. They are adapted for harsh worlds. Sanctuary's conditions would be difficult for us, but for humans... Velith understood immediately. "You are suggesting we ask the apex predators for help?" "Yes, Archon. They are the only species that could fight effectively on a level 6 world." The council chamber erupted in debate. Some members were horrified at the idea of asking the terrifying humans for military assistance. Others argued that they had no choice. On Earth, Captain Jake Morrison received the emergency communication in his command center. President Walker, General Johnson, and the rest of the human leadership gathered to hear the alien request. Commander Zephyk appeared on the main screen, but his usual arrogance was completely gone. He looked humble, desperate, and scared. "Humans of Earth," he began formally, "the Galactic Council requires your assistance." "What kind of assistance?" President Walker asked. "A world called Sanctuary is under attack by machines that consume organic life. Our forces cannot operate effectively on that planet's surface. The gravity, atmosphere, and radiation levels are beyond our capabilities." General Johnson studied the data the aliens transmitted. "Looks like 1.8 times Earth gravity, thin atmosphere, high radiation. Challenging, but manageable." Zephyk's voice cracked. "Those conditions would kill most of our soldiers within hours." "How many people need evacuation?" President Walker asked. 400 million, but evacuation is impossible. The Vex control the orbital space. Any rescue must come from the surface." Tom Bradley leaned forward. "You are asking us to invade an alien world to fight robots we have never seen before. Yes, Zefek admitted. You are the only species capable of such an operation. The human leaders looked at each other. They were being asked to risk their lives for aliens who had mocked them just weeks ago. But 400 million innocent beings were going to die. We will help, President Walker said simply. You will? Zefek could not hide his relief. That is what humans do. We help people in trouble. Within 48 hours, 10,000 human volunteers had assembled at military bases around the world. They came from every branch of the military: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force. These were professional soldiers who had trained their entire lives for combat in harsh conditions. Colonel Steve Hayes commanded the Space Forces. He was a pilot who had flown missions in every extreme environment on Earth. Major Kate Sullivan led the ground troops. She was a Marine who had fought in deserts, jungles, mountains, and urban warfare zones. Both of them looked forward to the challenge. The Galactic Council provided transport ships, hastily modified to carry human forces. The aliens watched in amazement as the humans boarded without environmental suits, wearing only their standard military gear with basic radiation protection. Are they not going to wear protective armor? Wisp asked nervously. This is our protective armor, Major Sullivan replied, patting her combat vest. We do not need the heavy suits you use. The journey to Sanctuary took 3 days. During the trip, the humans studied everything about the Vex and the planet they would be fighting on. The aliens provided all their data, still amazed that any species would volunteer for such a dangerous mission. The Vex are 12 feet tall, heavily armored, and equipped with energy weapons, the briefing officer explained. They are immune to most galactic weapons. What about kinetic weapons? Colonel Hayes asked. Kinetic weapons? You mean projectiles? Those are considered primitive. Sometimes primitive works best. When they arrived at Sanctuary, the human forces got their first look at the enemy. The Vex were massive machines that looked like walking tanks. They had devastated the planet's cities and were harvesting organic matter to fuel their advance. Council. Forces. This is Colonel Hayes. Steve transmitted to the alien fleet. We are beginning our assault. Be careful, humans, Zefek replied. You are our only hope. The human ships dove into Sanctuary's atmosphere like meteors. The dense air and high gravity that crippled alien vessels barely affected the human craft. Their pilots had trained in similar conditions on Earth. Major Sullivan's ground forces landed in the middle of the largest Vex formation. The machines turned their weapons on the humans, expecting easy targets. Instead, they found soldiers who moved with deadly efficiency through conditions that would paralyze most. Galactic species. The humans fought like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. They used the planet's harsh environment as a weapon, leading Vex forces into radiation zones and gravitational anomalies. They moved through toxic storms that would kill most aliens, striking from directions the machines never expected. How are they moving so fast in that gravity? One alien observer asked. They trained in heavier gravity their entire lives. Another replied, this is easy for them. The battle lasted 6 days. The humans fought with tactics developed through centuries of warfare on Earth's dangerous surface. They worked together like a single organism, adapting to every challenge the Vex presented. When it was over, 400 million beings were safe. The Vex had been completely destroyed. The human forces had suffered casualties, but they had won a victory that no other galactic species could have achieved. The rescue of Sanctuary became legend throughout the galaxy. Stories spread of the warriors from the Hellworld who fought in conditions that would kill normal beings. Humans were no longer seen as primitives or even as dangerous apex predators. They were seen as heroes. 6 months later, the Galactic Council voted unanimously to offer humanity full membership with a special status, Hellworld Guardians. When other species faced impossible odds on dangerous worlds, they could call on the humans for help. Earth became a training ground for the galaxies. Elite forces, though few aliens could survive the basic conditions, even with technological help. The planet that was once dismissed as a nursery world was now recognized as the forge that had created the galaxy's greatest warriors. Commander Zefek, now a close friend and ally to humanity, often visited Earth. He had learned to appreciate the beauty of a world that could create such remarkable beings. Sometimes he would sit with Captain Morrison and watch the sunset over the Rocky Mountains. "Do you ever regret our first meeting?" Jake asked one evening. Zefek's crystal form glowed. With what humans had learned was alien laughter. Regret? That first meeting was the most important day in galactic history. It was the day we learned that heroes are real. "We are not heroes," Jake replied. "We are just humans doing what needs to be done." "That," Zefek said, "is exactly what makes you heroes." Above them, ships from across the galaxy came and went, bringing visitors to the world that had changed everything. Earth was no longer isolated. It was the heart of a new galactic community, where beings from peaceful worlds could learn from the children of storms. And in the depths of space, other species whispered the name human with respect and awe. They had learned never to mock the inhabitants of Hellworlds, because sometimes those inhabitants were exactly what the galaxy needed most.